A global EPA? That's what some of the liberals are pushing. That's what we'll talk about in our lunch video today. The liberal community, the climate change crowd, are meeting in Rio de Janeiro on June 16th to 19th for the Sustainable Development Conference. It's called the Rio+20 Conference because 20 years ago, the world met in Rio de Janeiro and set up a what they called Agenda 21, which would establish a development guidelines for the world to follow so as to have sustainable development. And these guidelines in Agenda 21, we talk about it in Screwed, we have a whole chapter on it, are horrible. They talk about eliminating low-density populations, moving everybody into cities, getting rid of people living on rural lands, putting people in multi-story buildings, basically eliminating the automobile and having everybody bike and walk every place. Stuff that absolutely would set civilization back and technology back, and which, by the way, is totally unnecessary because we're converting from coal to natural gas increasingly in our generation of electricity, and we're switching from gasoline to electric and hybrid cars. And those together are going to do everything you need to do to reverse climate change if it's happening and if it's reversible. You don't need any of this other stuff. But that's what they were intent on in Rio 20 years ago. Now what they're going to do is they are proposing to set up a global EPA under the control of the United Nations that would have authority to promulgate regulations globally to deal with what they call sustainable development. And this could include all kinds of things. The idea has been floated, for example, of incentivizing local zoning boards to follow the Agenda 21 program, or granting special tax breaks to developers that follow the Agenda 21 program. You could even get to the point of mandatory United Nations EPA orders that would supersede the policies of each country and require them to fall in line with the sustainable development ideals of the Rio Conference. This is absolutely horrific. And it's coming up in the next 2 weeks. And I'll bet that the United States signs on to a global EPA, which means we throw Obama out, we get rid of the current EPA policy to no avail because the international EPA supersedes it. This is just the kind of stuff we warn of in Screwed, that they're going to take the domestic legislation they can't get passed and the regulations they can't get passed as the Republicans take over the government, and they're going to retreat to a globalist framework and use treaties and the United Nations to impose on us the stuff that we won't pass ourselves. And this is an absolutely perfect example of it. Please read the book Screwed and get active and mobilized. We have 3 weeks from now, there probably will be a global EPA created under the United Nations. And I'll bet the United States signs that treaty and may even subject itself through the treaty to their jurisdiction, which would require Senate ratification, but they'll try it in the lame duck session when they'll bring it before a bunch of Democrats who are out of office and their political careers are over and they might as well vote for it. So thanks for watching.